Imagine this. You're sitting in a packed conference room. The CEO's daughter, full of confidence and buzzwords, grabs your employee badge, yanks it off your neck, and cuts the lanyard with office scissors in front of 50 people. She thinks she's just fired the legacy dinosaur, holding the company back. She has no idea that one single snip just triggered a dead man switch I built into the system 15 years ago. In less than 10 minutes, millions in government contracts vanish, federal certification collapses, the stock tanks, and the entire C-suite is begging me to come back at $1,000 an hour. My name is Gabriel Martinez. This is the story of how one spoiled executive destroyed her own future with a pair of scissors, and how I let the system finish the job. My life runs like clockwork. Always has. I'm 47 years old, built solid from 8 years in the Army Signal Corps, where one crossed wire could get your squad killed. After that, I spent 15 years at Blackhawk Defense Solutions in Fort Worth, Texas. We're not the flashy defense contractor with ads on TV. We build the quiet stuff. Encrypted networks for naval yards, secure data vaults for classified intelligence, software that has to pass audits so tough they make IRS reviews look like kindergarten. Those contracts aren't six figures. They're 7 and 8. Lose federal certification, and the company starves. My morning starts at 7:45 a.m. sharp. My Ford F-150 pulls in a parking spot A12. Not A11. Not A13. A12. By 7:52, I've badged through 3 security doors. Swipe, pin, fingerprint. The biometric scanner always feels like it's saying welcome home. Break room at 7:55. The ancient coffee machine groans like an old man getting out of bed. Black coffee. No cream. No sugar. Just fuel. By 8 o'clock, I'm in the secure wing. No windows. Just the steady hum of servers, climate control, and backup generators. This is the nerve center of Blackhawk's federal business. I call up the board, our compliance dashboard. A clean grid of status lights. Green is good. Yellow is a warning. Red is the end of the world. For 15 years, every critical module has carried my digital signature. Custody ledger verified by G. Martinez. Data sync verified by G. Martinez. Incident archive verified by G. Martinez. I'm not being dramatic. I'm a human anchor. The feds require a named individual who swears an oath, signs the paperwork, and goes to prison if the data walks out the door. That person is me. The secure wing is my kingdom. Sales guys in bright ties never come here. HR avoids it like it's haunted. I walk the aisles every morning, checking seals on fireproof safes, monitoring the bank of screens. Everything blinking blue and green like a calm Christmas tree. Around 9 o'clock, the real requests start. Not from executives, from the people who actually build things. Andrew, one of our project managers, always looks like he slept under his desk. He stops at the door, knows better than to step inside without clearance. Gabriel, hey, got a quick one. He hands me his laptop. Email to the Naval Yard. Status on the new firmware. Can you just make sure it won't get us in trouble? I scan the draft. 2 sentences are technically correct, but would light up an auditor's radar like fireworks. 30 seconds later, I hand it back with the wording adjusted to match our last audit report. Andrew exhales. You're a lifesaver, man. Coffee tomorrow. Just file the revised draft. I tell him. An hour later, Ryan from IT security pings me. Weird flag in the access logs. Port scan from internal IP I don't recognize. Not one of your audit scripts, right? I check my scheduled tasks. Nope. Lock it down and send me the incident log for the weekly report. Copy that. Thanks. This is my world. Precise actions, mutual respect built on competence. Quiet days where boring means safe. But lately the air upstairs had started to feel wrong. HR was pushing this innovation and agility initiative. All-hands meetings run by expensive consultants throwing around phrases like breakdown silos and digital-first mindset. Every time I heard those words, my blood pressure ticked up. In my experience, breaking silos usually means destroying security barriers. Digital first means forgetting that some data must, by federal law, be stored offline and signed by a living, breathing human. I sat in the back of those meetings, marking up federal regs with a red pen, watching slide decks full of corporate poetry. The feeling got worse the day I walked past the main bulletin board for my 10:30 coffee refill. New poster. Glossy. Professional. Reimagining operations with next-generation leadership. Photo of CEO Daniel Thornfield, arm around a young woman in aggressive casual. Designer blazer, dark jeans, sneakers that probably cost more than my monthly truck payment. Her haircut screamed, "I have a personal stylist." Her eyes screamed, "I'm here to change everything." Name underneath, Jennifer Thornfield, VP of Digital Innovation. Office gossip filled in the blanks fast. CEO's daughter. Burned through $30 million in VC on a fintech startup in California that crashed hard. Now daddy gave her a soft landing and a made-up title. I knew right then. Trouble had arrived. The mandatory town hall was Thursday. Main conference room, packed tighter than a transport chopper. Nervous energy. Burnt coffee. I took my usual spot, back corner, against the wall. Old army habit. Always know your exits. Always have eyes on the room. Jennifer didn't walk to the podium. She owned the space before she even got there. "Thank you," she said, quieting the polite applause. "It's incredible to be home, working with my father to bring Blackhawk into the next phase." Her slides were slick, high-res stock photos, aggressive fonts, Operation Phoenix with a fiery bird rising from flames. "For too long we've done incredible work with one hand tied behind our back. Legacy thinking. Friction. Processes built for a world that doesn't exist anymore." Click. Next slide. Cartoon T-Rex labeled paper crushed by a meteor called data. Subtle as a sledgehammer. We're moving to agile, digital first. Breaking silos. Innovating at the speed of thought. The junior managers up front nodded like dashboard bobbleheads. She paced like a TED Talk pro. Her eyes swept the room and landed on me. Me marking up new federal data residency policies with a red pen on actual paper. "Legacy roles will need to evolve," she said, voice dropping for drama, "or they will need to vanish." The stare lingered. Message received. The guy with the red pen is marked for extinction. She mispronounced CMMC framework as CMMC, letter by letter. Anyone who's actually worked with it says SIMC. Tiny mistake, but told me everything. She'd read summaries, not manuals. When it ended, awkward applause. Daniel jumped up clapping hardest, beaming like his kid just won the science fair. Jennifer worked the room like a politician, shaking hands, dropping buzzwords. She cut off my exit path. Classic move. "That was quite a presentation," I said flatly. "Thanks. Just trying to shake things up." She ran a hand through her expensive haircut. "You're Gabriel Martinez, right? The custodian? Chief Security Architect and Federal Custodian of Record. They're distinct roles." "Right. Look, I've been reviewing your department. Lots of manual processes. Paper. In 2025, I want to automate this entire wing. We can't be agile with dead weight." I met her eyes. "The feds require a person, Jennifer. Not a slide deck. Not an algorithm. Someone who takes the oath, whose name goes on the paperwork, who goes to prison if the data walks. Your software can't take that heat." Her smile tightened. "That's exactly the legacy thinking I'm talking about. We'll have to agree to disagree. For now." She spun on her heels and left a trail of designer perfume. Back in the secure wing, the server hum felt like coming home after a firefight. Board, all green. Stable. Verified by G. Martinez. Then her email arrived. Subject, mandatory review of obsolete controls. Meeting, 8 a.m. tomorrow. Only one name on the required list, mine. Single agenda item in red. Review and reassessment of federal custodian role. She was moving fast. Too fast. That night, I didn't sleep much. Occupational hazard when your job is anticipating disaster. At 1:30 a.m. my phone gave a single high-priority buzz. Alert from a monitoring script I wrote years ago, one that had never triggered before. I got out of bed, fired up my home computer, logged into my private admin console, a backdoor only I control. Repeated failed authentication attempts against the vendor risk portal. Sophisticated. Cycling combinations. Probing. Then, at 1:47 a.m., success. Temporary admin account linked to the executive sandbox gained access to live systems. IP traced straight to the new executive wing. Jennifer's office. She wasn't just browsing staging data anymore. She was inside the real thing. I took screenshots, exported raw logs with timestamps and IPs, saved everything to an encrypted drive in my home safe. Folder J. Thornfield Security Incident. Old Army habit. Document everything. Assume you'll need it in court. The 8 o'clock meeting felt different. I wasn't defending my job. I was interviewing a suspect. Jennifer had set up the glass-walled conference room with pastries and premium coffee. All smiles. Gabriel, glad you could make it. Help yourself to a croissant. I'm good. What's this about? She clicked her remote. Title slide. De-risking Blackhawk. Identifying single points of failure. She paced. I've done a deep dive on our risk vectors. Our entire compliance architecture hinges on you. One person. If you get sick, quit, or get hit by a bus, the system collapses. We're exposed. It's obsolete. I'll let the silence hang. You're using startup language. The Pentagon doesn't call a certified custodian a single point of failure. That's a bug waiting to happen. They call it a single anchor point. Intentional. The known, legally accountable human who takes the heat when auditors show up at 3 a.m. because a log looks funny. Her confident expression cracked. That's semantics. No, it's doctrine. You're proposing we cut the ship's anchor because it's heavy, without realizing it's the only thing keeping us from drifting into the rocks. Her face darkened. The polished charm evaporated. That's the kind of legacy thinking holding us back. We can build automated systems that don't rely on one badge. She leaned forward, trying to intimidate. I've faced down people with actual weapons. Cute. If your system is so fragile it collapses over one employee badge, maybe the problem isn't me. Maybe it's your system. There it was. She wasn't talking theory anymore. She was telegraphing her next move. I stood. You won't like the system's answer. She scoffed. Is that a threat? It's a log entry. Systems respond with data. You should know that by now. I walked out. She was left speechless. Probably the first time in her life someone walked away from her pitch. Back in the secure wing, I fired off a formal memo to Sarah Bennett, General Counsel. Subject: formal notification of unauthorized credential escalation risk and impediment of mandated succession protocol. Cited specific regs. Referenced the 90-day buffer. Stated senior executive Jennifer Thornfield had voiced clear intent to interfere. Attached the 1:47 a.m. logs. Filed in the official compliance repository. Auto time-stamped. High priority notification to Sarah. Read receipt. 5 minutes later. She'd seen it. An hour later, company-wide email from Daniel. Driving the future. Announcing Operation Phoenix. Pure fluff. Praising Jennifer's vital work streamlining operations. They had the warning. They had the proof. They chose to ignore both. I opened a directory I built 15 years ago. Single document, Protocol Aegis 19B. Not a bomb. Not sabotage. A dead man's switch. In high-risk military systems, if the operator's hand leaves the switch, taken out, compromised, forcibly removed, the system executes a safe shutdown. My protocol is woven into the DNA of our federal compliance architecture, tied to my credentials, my signature, the physical token in my badge. If my role is revoked without the 90-day succession protocol, Aegis 19B kicks in automatically, cuts DoD connections, flags certification compromised, protects the data, protects the country, protects me. They thought I was the single point of failure. They were about to learn I was the on switch. 2 days later, the invite arrived. Operational Evolution Summit, mandatory for ops and compliance leads. I knew what it was, her grand finale. She needed an audience. The fishbowl was wall-to-wall people. Jennifer front and center, sleeves rolled, expensive watch gleaming. We must be faster. We need agility. We can't be chained to the past. We must stop trusting only people and start trusting our systems. Junior managers scribbled buzzwords. Andrew and Ryan studied the floor tiles. She wrapped her deck and opened for questions on the new policies sent out an hour earlier. My hand went up. Her smile could cut glass. Gabriel, our custodian. Do you have a thought? I held up my printout. Clarification. Section 4, subsection B. Data retention drops from 12 months to 60 days. She waved it away. Cutting fat. 60 days is plenty in modern cloud. I kept my voice level. Federal Acquisition Regulation Supplement 703, subsection D. All access logs related to DoD contracts must be retained minimum 1 full fiscal year post-contract closure. Our 12-month policy is already bare minimum compliance. 60 days is a flagrant violation. Dead silence. The room held its breath. You're not writing policy, I continued. You're drafting the violation report that'll shut us down. Her face went nuclear. You are the bottleneck. You're the no in this room. You are everything wrong with legacy thinking. She couldn't win with facts, so she decided to win with power. She started walking toward me. Slow, deliberate, every step calculated for drama. Reached me, didn't grab my arm, grabbed the nylon lanyard around my neck. Yank hard, the strap bit deep, jerked me forward against the safety clasp. Room gasped like oxygen got sucked out. Breakaway clasp snapped, click. Lanyard in her hand, badge swinging like a pendulum. She held it high. This is the problem. This piece of plastic. This single point of failure. Spun to the supply station. Came back with heavy black office scissors. Turned to the room. We are not dependent on a single badge anymore. Raised the scissors. Snip. The sound was small. In that silence, it echoed like a gunshot. Lanyard fell in pieces. Badge clattered on the table. Scissors dropped next to it. She stood chest out, waiting for my meltdown. I stayed perfectly still. Let the silence stretch long enough for everyone to memorize the image. Smirking executive. Severed badge. Quiet old-timer who isn't breaking. Then I stood slowly, picked up the cut lanyard and badge, placed them carefully on my closed laptop, looked her dead in the eye. You just told the system that the custodian of record has been removed outside of proper procedure. Turned my back. Walked out. No run. No hurry. Just steady steps to the elevator. Doors closed. I knew what I left behind. A room full of people who just watched corporate suicide. My phone started buzzing before I reached the lobby. By the time I got to my truck, it was vibrating like it had a seizure. Internal messages going berserk. What's happening? Portal's gone dark. Dashboard just went yellow, orange. I've never seen orange. Custody ledger flashing red. Status says unassigned. Gabriel, what does unassigned mean? I opened my mobile terminal. Query ran. Checking module. Handshake failure. Reason code 801.4. Name custodian revoked. Attempting re-authentication. Failed. Federated links severed. System lockout initiated. Aegis. 19 behead executed. The system didn't understand drama or scissors. It only knew the authenticated custodian was forcibly removed without 90-day succession. So it did what law required, cut DoD connections. Flagged certification compromised. No deletion, no corruption, just lawful shutdown. I could picture the secure wing. Ryan staring at red warnings. Nicholas sprinting, screaming who touched it. No one touched code. Jennifer touched a lanyard. 5 minutes later, email from Norripley at fedatatregistry.gov. Subject, status certification invalidated. Federated handshake terminated at 10:32 a.m. Reason, named custodian chain broken without 90-day buffer. All access suspended pending manual review. 15 years of certification gone. Text from Daniel's assistant. Gabriel, please call. Emergency. Feds calling. Everything frozen. I drove to a coffee shop. Ordered large black. Sat in the corner. Logged into the emergency federal telecon. Camera off. Mic muted. G. Martinez, external. Call started 90 minutes late. Time to stop panicking and follow procedure. Daniel looked 10 years older. Sarah looked sick. Nicholas and VPs stared like careers were burning. Jessica Wells appeared. Senior auditor. Librarian vibe. Steel voice. Recorded call. Who removed the named custodian? Sarah tried. HR matter. Mr. Martinez left the organization. Terminated. Daniel. Performance issue. Let go this morning. Jessica nodded. Your CEO just admitted on recorded federal line to terminating the custodian without 90-day buffer. You breach your own policy. Certification invalid. Further access attempts. Breach referrals. Screen went dark. Daniel's voicemail. Misunderstanding. Need help. Systems frozen. Deleted. Sarah's email. Consultant request. My reply. Terms. $1,000 per hour. 20-hour minimum upfront. Indemnity retroactive. CEO signed admission of retaliation. Team protected. Non-negotiable. 11:47 p.m. All accepted. Retainer wired. Indemnity signed. Next morning, visitor parking. Escorted past my own security. War room. Consoles haggard executives. Daniel, Gabriel, thank God. I cut in. I'm here as external consultant. Let's be clear. Spread my diagram. This is Aegis 19B. Deadman switch. Custodian removed without protocol. System sees breach. Cuts DoD links. Protects data. Your daughter didn't cut a badge. She cut your federal lifeline. Jennifer sat in corner. Silent. Deflated. Daniel, whatever you need. My way. No shortcuts. Regulations to the letter. Months of work. Operation Phoenix canceled. Permanently. They nodded desperately. I started issuing orders. Audit trails. Succession docs. Appeals. Green lights began returning. Jessica Wells' follow-up call. I joined on video. Explained protocol. She grilled Daniel. Why ignore the memo? He stammered. Provisional reinstatement approved on my terms. I stayed consultant plus reinstated executive director of compliance. Fat bonus. Team protected. Jennifer, demoted to junior analyst. Took my compliance courses. Then quietly left the company. Daniel knocked one day. Coffee in break room. I screwed up. Pushed her too fast. Ignored warnings. Almost killed the company. I nodded. Almost. Stock recovered. Contracts returned. Board replaced eager VPs. No more digital-first talk. 6 months later, full federal clearance. I kept my routine. A12 parking. Black coffee. Secure wing. All green. Verified by G. Martinez. That single snip? Not personal revenge. Just the system doing what it was built to do. And sometimes, that's sweeter than any payback. I drive home under Texas sun. Content. Steady. On time. The old soldier still has the high ground.